Welcome to the conversation. If you're joining for the first time, we want to welcome you. And if you are joining as a regular, we want to welcome you back. I'm Steffanie Rivers, and this is my video journal. If you would, please like, share, and subscribe, especially if you think this conversation is something that someone would want to know about. And I know that this is, especially if they live in the state of Kentucky. Now, you might know that it's been a year ago since Breonna Taylor was shot and killed by Louisville police, and she and her family did not get the justice that they deserve by seeing her killers go get convicted and go to prison because the Kentucky Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, is in the back pocket of law enforcement in that state, and he blocked their prosecution. But that's only part of the story. So we're going to discuss another part of the story this evening. So again, please like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know, and especially send this to your friends, family, and whoever you know is a registered voter in the state of Kentucky. Now, while most of us have turned our attention to the murder trial of Derek Chauvin, who is on trial for murdering the modern day lynching of George Floyd, and you might have turned your attention to that, as well as those three flunky cops who did not do what normal human beings would do and stop Chauvin from murdering Floyd on the scene. While they're doing that, a lot of slick politicians in Kentucky are trying to use this time when they think our attention is averted, and they're trying to make some changes to how things are done in Kentucky in the state house. So that's why I always tell you, you need to pay more attention to what's going on in your state legislatures than you do to Congress, because that's where a lot of the policies are made that affect your lives. So let's show them tonight that we can multitask. So again, I'm Steffanie Rivers, and you're watching my journal. Please, if you want to comment, I am taking your comments. Also, I am live. It's a TriCast. I'm TriCasting on Facebook Live, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can text me at 214-919-9360 with your comments if you happen to catch this after I go, after I'm no longer live. But I welcome your comments. So let's start with who's trying to suppress the voters in Kentucky. You know how when you write a paper, or if you're a teacher and you teach your students the 3 W's, who, what, why. We're going to start with who's involved. Well, here's who's involved. Power-hungry Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell. That's the first person. The second person involved is crooked-ass Attorney General Daniel Cameron of Kentucky. And here's the third person, which you might not be as familiar with him. He is state lawmaker Robert Stivers from the 25th District of Kentucky. And so here I want to show you their pictures. So on the left, Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell, middle, Daniel Cameron, right, Robert Stivers. These are the three players involved with what is going on. See, Stivers, he created a bill. It's bill number, State House Bill number 228. Mitch McConnell, and here's what's going on. Mitch McConnell is preparing to leave Congress before his term ends. even though he just got reelected to his 7th term. He's been the senator for Kentucky for about 36 years, since 1985. And he just got reelected this past November, 4 months ago. This is March. So about 4.5, 5 months ago, just got reelected. So he is now looking to vacate his seat. Now, most people would consider the fact that Mitch McConnell is trying to leave Congress as a good thing. But stick with me. I'm going to explain what's really going on. In most states, when a member of Congress wants to vacate their seat early, when they don't necessarily, they're not put out by an election, but they want to vacate the seat early before the election cycle comes up, then it's the responsibility of the governor of that state to appoint someone to finish out that term. And then that person, when the next election comes up, then they get to run for the seat if they so want to continue on. Remember, that's what happened in Georgia this last cycle when the senator who was holding that seat in Georgia, he vacated his seat early. The governor of Georgia appointed the unremarkable Kelly Loeffler. Remember her? And so she became the senator for a year and a half or 2 years. Then they had the runoff election, and Pastor Raphael Warnock became the front runner in the Democratic Party. He and Loeffler then ran against each other. Remember that? And then the voters in Georgia realized how unremarkable she was. And then they voted for Raphael Warnock to become the first Democratic senator, I think, in practically forever. I'm not sure, don't live in Georgia, but it's been a long time since a Democrat had held that seat, if ever had held that seat. So just giving you some background on how it works. It works like that across the country. But back to my story in Kentucky. So McConnell wants the governor in Kentucky would be responsible for appointing McConnell's replacement as it stands now. That's Governor Andy Beshear. Now, Governor Beshear is a Democrat. McConnell is a Republican. Senator McConnell wants to control who replaces him when he leaves early, whether it's a year from now or a couple of years from now, but it's probably going to be by the end of 2021. So he doesn't want for a Democratic governor to replace him. So McConnell has gotten his Republican cronies in the State House of Kentucky to come up with a bill that changes how the game is played, that changes the rules. So stick with me. Again, let's look at these people so you know who I'm talking about. And if you know anybody, like I said, who lives in Kentucky, please send this video to them and be sure to like, share, and subscribe. So the next time that I post videos, you'll be the first to know. So this is what's going on. Last February, a month ago, February 2021, the state senator, he's the president of the Senate of the state legislature in Kentucky, Robert Stivers, he introduced a bill, bill number 228. And he had one co-sponsor. Who co-sponsored it? His name was Senator Tom Buford. Just so you know what kind of people we're dealing with here, who are willing to suppress the vote of the voters of Kentucky. The bill is being discussed in the State House right now. They're in session right now. So now is the time to act. Not next month, not this summer, but right now. So if this bill passes before in the state of Kentucky, it could change the way the vacancies in the Senate are it could change the way the people who would take over that seat. It could change the way they are chosen. Stivers represents the 25th district of Kentucky. His constituents are over 7 counties. 7 counties. But the thing is, and he is up for re-election in a year or two. So if you know anybody who lives in Robert Stivers' 25th district, and they like their privilege of voting, then you might want to pass this on to them too, because he, in essence, is suppressing their vote like he's trying to suppress everybody else's vote that doesn't even live in his district, which is 95% white people over 50. Okay, so this bill would change the way people are appointed to vacated senatorial seats in Kentucky. So here's what they want to do. This bill would change it so not now as it is now, the governor is the person who appoints somebody to take over that seat. But again, Mitch McConnell, who's a Republican, doesn't want the Democratic governor to have that privilege that the governor has had for decades, for a century of however long it's been a law. He, in turn, has gone to his buddy, crony Stivers in the Kentucky State House and got him to create a bill that says, now here's what they want to do. They want to create a panel that's going to do the research to find out who are the best candidates to take over the seat. And then this panel is going to come up with 3 choices. And then they're going to give that short list. They're going to give that short list to the governor, and the governor will have to select one of the people from that short list. So that's what's going on. Now, let's say, because some of you might be saying, well, what if I'm okay with the people on the list? Well, you might be okay with the people on the list right now, but there might come a time when they might put somebody on the list that you don't agree with, which is probably, I would think, the people I'm about to tell you who's on the list. Don't wait until you're an aggrieved person before you start fighting for the rights of other people, because the rights you fight for today might be your own rights later on. So you want to for everybody to be treated fairly and to have the inalienable rights that are given to them as a citizen in this country, as a registered voter in the state of Kentucky in this case. So who's going to be on that short list of these 3 people? Well, they're going to be handpicked by McConnell, because he's a control freak, which is why you might ask, well, why is he even leaving? We're going to get to that later. Let's keep with the W's. Remember the W's, who, what, why? We're getting to the why later on. Right now, we're still on the who. Mitch McConnell and Dan Cameron and Robert Stivers. So the 3 people on the list, and yes, they've already created the list. They're just waiting for it to pass the state house, because that's how crooked politicians work. They already feel like they are going to make it work. They got to just go through the procedures. So that first person on the list is former United Nations ambassador. Her name is Kelly Kraft. Kelly Kraft is the wife of I think his name is John Kraft, and they own together the 3rd largest coal producing company in the Eastern United States. So they give millions of dollars. In fact, they gave over $1 million to Donald Trump's political campaign when he was running for president. They've given millions of dollars to various GOP causes, including to Mitch McConnell. So Kelly Kraft is on the list. She just gave up that ambassador role as Donald Trump was leaving office. Then, most of the people, if not all the political appointees appointed by Trump have been, phased out, have been let go, have been relieved of duty. And President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris put their own people in place. So the first person on the list was Kelly Kraft. The second person on the list is Secretary of State, current Secretary of State of Kentucky, and his name is Michael Abrams. Michael Abrams is on the list. Now, Michael Abrams has only been in public service, in public office. His first elected public office was to Secretary of State in 2018. He was sworn in, and his claim to fame is that he was a part of the McConnell Leadership Program. Apparently, there's some McConnell Leadership Program named after Mitch McConnell at the University of Louisville, and apparently they teach you, I don't know what they would be teaching you about being a leader under the name of Mitch McConnell, but whatever they teaching, it's supposed to be a big deal if you are a part of this leadership program. He was a part of it. He got his name out there. He's an attorney by trade. So he used to be an attorney in Washington for some big wigs. And so he's the second person on this short list. And of course, you might have guessed it, current Kentucky Attorney General Dan Cameron. He's Mitch McConnell's favorite Black Republican, his heir apparent. In fact, I'm told that they're calling this bill that they're trying to pass in Kentucky in the legislature, they're calling it the Dan Cameron Act, because it's really all about getting Dan Cameron to the next level. Those three people. Now, have you ever been up for a position? You might have been on a computer, might have been looking for a job, as a lot of millions of people are these days, and you see a position and you think, this position is just for me. I'm qualified. I got all the experience. And you say, okay, I'm going to apply for this. I'm going to send my resume in, and you send all the information and you actually get an interview. Or you might work at the job at this company and they say, oh, we're going to open up a management position, or we're going to open up this, that, and the third. You're like, okay, it's ready for time for me to move up, right? And then you interview for it, and somehow somebody else ends up getting that position, and you later find out that that person who got the position was going to get it anyway. They only brought you in for the interview, wasted your time, got you all hyped because they just wanted to give the appearance that they really cared about finding the best person. They really they knew who they were going to hire from the beginning. Well, that's what this short list of that McConnell is putting forth, that he already has. That's what this short list is all about. They already know. He already knows he wants Dan Cameron to be his successor to fill the vacated spot. He just has to go through the process. Y'all in Kentucky, you cannot let this happen. You need to call your legislators today. As a matter of fact, I had a phone number for you that I need to try to pull up right fast and give you, let's see if I can find it. Okay, this is the Kentucky Legislative Message Line that you can call to leave a message for your state legislator. The number is 1-800-372-7181, and tell them you want to oppose State Bill 228. So let me put that in. Call the state legislative line at 800, I said it was 372-7181, 372-7181 to oppose State Bill 288. I'm sorry, 228. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Okay. And so that's what's really going on. Now, I don't know anything about Governor Brashear in Kentucky. So this is not an endorsement for him, but I know enough about crooked ass Mitch McConnell and token Republican Daniel Cameron to know this is a protest against them. Okay. So we do not need, you know what kind of dude Dan Cameron is. If he tried to hide, and he did try to cover up for the cops who killed Breonna Taylor and allowed them to press charges against her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, who incidentally got all the charges dropped against him this past week, and to the point where he no longer can be charged with anything. If Dan Cameron, the Attorney General, would let these people walk away knowing what they did and the sloppiness that they did it with, and not following standard operating procedures, and went in there and shot and killed her, and then try to blame her boyfriend, and the way they handled a no-knock search warrant, and lying about getting the no-knock search warrant, and lied to the judge, and this, that, and the third. If he can do that, and the way he got the grand jury and didn't allow them to have all the information that they needed to actually charge the police officers, and then tried to make it seem like the jury decided that, when it was him who did not allow them to do what they were supposed to do and put it on them. If he can do that, y'all, he does not need to go nowhere but back to the damn house. Okay, that's where he need to go. So, had y'all done your homework in Kentucky, he would not even be Attorney General. Now, I've already done a video on that a long time ago, so I'm not going to repeat all of that. You can go back and look it up. But essentially, we cannot allow him to move forward. Dan Cameron, essentially did a catch and kill move and caught the prosecution from the local DA, who had recused himself, and sent it to the Attorney General's office, thinking the Attorney General would naturally reassign it to someone else, or at least do justice by an investigation, which he did neither. He caught it, kept it in his office, did not do an investigation, and then let him go. He caught it and killed it, the prosecution. So you do not need somebody like that. So as a matter of fact, Cameron never intended to prosecute the bully, liar, killer cops. He essentially only had to play like he was because Breonna Taylor's case came to national attention because of the modern day lynching on video of George Floyd. So just like cases across the country are now coming to light about how these racist ass police officers are treating unarmed Black and brown people, this was one of those cases. So we do not need anybody like him in Congress. So conceively, this move that they're trying to do with this state bill in Kentucky is a loophole for crooked politicians. It's, for example, if this bill passes and Mitch McConnell is allowed to pick the 3 people on that list, and then let's say the governor picks one of those. Well, we know, because again, one of the things with this bill is the 3 people on the list have to come from the same political party as the person being replaced. So in this case, McConnell being a Republican, they must be Republican. So conceivably, because McConnell knows that Dan Cameron he's not reelectable. He is not going to get reelected to anything. He about to go sit down at the house, like I just said, not after this debacle that he called himself being the Attorney General, and people across the country knowing about it, and then people in Kentucky looking like mindless fools because y'all voted for him. They are not going to make that mistake again. So anyway, so let's say, going back to my example, if McConnell is allowed to get his replacement in, and it happens to be Dan Cameron, okay, and then Cameron's got what, 2 years to prove himself as being a worthy senator. And then if he feels like he can win and everything is on, momentum is on his side, then he might go forth in an election. Or if he feels like, you know what, I'm going to lose, so let me vacate the seat before the election. And then here we go again. Now they go back to the state. They come up with 3 more crooked cronies that they know are puppets, that they can do what they want to with them. And then they replace that person with another replacement. And essentially, Kentucky no longer gets to vote for at least one of their senators because they keep being replaced by somebody who is just as spineless and crooked as the one they replaced. Now, I know y'all don't want that in Kentucky. So now those are the players, and that's what's going on. Now let's get to, why is this happening? Why would Mitch McConnell, who just got elected to his 7th term, who spent 36 years in Congress and just got elected in November, why would he be wanting to, so the next time that I, why, the big why, is because, in case you didn't know, somebody, I don't want to start attacking people personally, so just stay focused. Okay. Elaine Chow is the former Secretary of Transportation. She was a Secretary of Transportation in Donald Trump's administration that just ended in January. So she was there, Elaine Chow. She's McConnell's wife. And so essentially, Chow's family owns a $1 billion shipping company in China. Chow used her position, and it has come out, you can do your research. Chow used her position as SOT, is what she used to call herself, Secretary of Transportation. She used her position to help her family get government contracts. She used her staff to do personal errands, and she used her connections to help promote a book that either her sister wrote or her father wrote. I think it was her father. Her sister runs the company. Her father wrote a book. The family owns a $1 billion shipping company. She helped them through her connections to get government contracts. And that all came out as she was leaving office. And so now she might be, she's being investigated after they found out all of that. So the question is, and this is probably the choice that they gave to Elaine Chow and her husband, Mitch McConnell, current senator, either she going to jail or you getting out of Congress. So it's like they play you against each other, in that instance. So yeah, is she going to jail, or is she gonna be fined millions of dollars? Or we gonna do something to punish her? Or are you willing to give up your spot? Also, he is considering having to consider quitting, because at the end of the second impeachment trial for Donald Trump, remember, after all was said and done, after he had caped for Donald Trump for 4 years, 5 years, talking about before he was elected on through when he left office, Mitch McConnell caped for him. And then at the end, he wants to say, but if it wasn't for the president, none of this storming of the Capitol, January 6th mess would have happened. So McConnell thought, okay, I'm in the clear. I can come out and say stuff against him now. But really, with the influence that Donald Trump still has in the Republican Party and the number of senators, I think they're on Senator number 4, who has come out and said, I will not be running for re-election. So now and with the Democrats taking over the House and the Senate, and now McConnell being Senate minority leader, his power that he had just 60 days ago, he no longer has. And so he's feeling the pressure. They're pressuring him to make a move. And so that's what's really going on. Yeah, really going on. So everybody in Kentucky needs to know this right now, what Mitch McConnell is trying to do. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to still have control of Congress and of his successor without actually being in control. He's trying to drive the car even though it's registered in somebody else's name, basically. Now, do you think if he gets Dan Cameron's unproductive, not knowing what the hell going on self in Congress as a senator, do you not know that Mitch McConnell will still be in control of that man? He's 30-something years old. First time in public office was when he won Attorney General 2 years ago. And for some reason, we haven't quite figured that out. Why is it that Mitch McConnell likes this person so much? Something is going on. We think they're related by marriage. That's all I'm willing to go out on a limb and say. We think they're related by marriage, and that's why he cares so much about this token Black Republican who is in the pockets of law enforcement in Kentucky and is not doing what he should to hold crooked, bully, liar, killer cops responsible, accountable in that state, especially those who killed Breonna Taylor. So that's what's really going on. And again, if you want to, please call your, not if you want to, you should. I urge you to call the Kentucky State Legislative line at 1-800-372-7181 to oppose State Bill 228. I'll put it in the comments. And yeah, that's what you need to know about what's really going on. And let me show you these people again. You know, Mitch McConnell on the left, that's Dan Cameron in the middle, the token Republican Black dude. And then that is Kentucky Senate President Robert Stivers, who is up for re-election in about a year and a half. And if he is willing to be a part of voter suppression, then he needs to be replaced as well. So y'all need to start looking for somebody else to replace him and run against him, because last time he ran unopposed a couple of years ago, and every time he's had an opponent for the past 4 terms, he's won. But it's a new day, y'all. We got to hold people accountable. We have to find somebody. If they're not doing what they should, then we need to replace them with somebody who's going to do what they're supposed to do. So that's what's really going on with Mitch McConnell. So don't put all your attention on the Derek Chauvin murder case. Put some attention to what's going on in your state house, especially if you live in Kentucky. And to find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com. Thanks, and you have a super day. And keep shining a spotlight in the dark.